It is Friday, February 5th. Let's talk PlayStation. Yet again, another slow news week for PlayStation, but there's still a few things going on. Namely, just last week, we didn't really cover this one up, but PlayStation Vita was having some connectivity issues with the PlayStation Store. A lot of people were reporting that after they downloaded the firmware update 3.57, they couldn't connect to the PlayStation Store, or they were having massively draining battery issues. Sony has recently said they have fixed this, and that it was server-side, basically, so the firmware had nothing to do with the fact that people couldn't connect to the PlayStation Store. So that's good news, but that's not necessarily answering the fact that people are reporting extremely fast, rapid battery usage. So, you know, I would assume Sony's going to look into this at some point, assuming more people keep complaining about it, which is kind of shitty because it seems like, you know, once every, like, you know, 2-3 years or something, a firmware update will come out, and, you know, sure enough, there's some sort of problem that they actually sent out to people, and that's probably what happened with 3.57, which we all know was supposed to actually just remove the Facebook support, but it comes out and now people are having issues. Another notable thing that happened this past week is that people are having issues with PlayStation Network once again. Not just PlayStation Vita specifically, but the fact that people couldn't connect to it whatsoever, whether it was PS4, Vita, or PS3, they just couldn't play online and things. And then shortly after, Sony sent out their usual tweet saying, "We understand people are having issues and everything. We'll get to it when we can." And then, not even a few hours later, maybe like a day later or something, the PSN services were up for everybody. Again, and that one's more frequent than the previous issue. It seems like very often that happens where PSN has a little bit of downtime, whether it's a full day or a few hours, but that happens like 1-2 times every month, it seems like. Not to exaggerate, but it does seem like it happens quite frequently, which is the same story we always talk about. We've been paying for PlayStation Plus now, required for PS4 Online. It's, a paid service, and it's just, the hashtag better PSN campaign. It's just ridiculous at this point. More people need to be a little bit more vocal about this stuff, and at some point, I would hope that Sony will actually start investing a little bit back in the network and really start to fix this stuff up. This next news story I want to talk about was like really cool. I love that stuff like this actually happens, and it's actually a PSP related news story, which is quite rare for us because we don't talk about that platform all that often anymore because it's never in the news anymore. But developer Volition released they released the unfinished game Saints Row Undercover. So basically, a Saints Row game was supposed to come out on PSP a very long time ago. It was actually supposed to be Saints Row 2, which then turned into a full-fledged sequel called Saints Row Undercover that was supposed to come out on PSP. The game was eventually canceled because it didn't meet standards or whatever, but the developer actually just recently released the unfinished game, so you can actually download it and play it, emulate it on a PC, and I'm sure you could probably get it working out of PSP or something. They released all the files and everything, so I'm sure if you had some sort of modded PSP, you could get it to run on a PSP. But yeah, you can actually play this thing and kind of get a look for, well, an unfinished title basically. And kind of interesting that that Saints Row is actually going to be on PSP. That's actually pretty cool, but at the same time disappointing that it didn't actually come out, because that would have been a pretty cool game for the platform. Yeah, I guess another one of those things where it makes you think about PSP a little bit. We never really talk about that platform all that much, but I enjoyed the hell out of mine, and yeah, I wish this game would actually came out. I would have enjoyed that. This next one is a PlayStation VR news story that should be taken with a grain of salt because it is a rumor from Reddit. But basically, this user Sir Domino posted a long little paragraph, few paragraphs talking about PlayStation VR's possible price point. He says that somebody within Sony, who is a representative and specifically not a spokesperson, says that internally the rumors around the inside of the company are that PlayStation VR is going to be priced at $299, or at the very least that's what Sony's targeting for the headset, and it would be just for the headset. So basically it would be PlayStation VR, the head-mounted display for $300, and then any additional things, which we know that it requires the PlayStation camera, and game compatibility depending on what game supports it. It's not going to come with PlayStation Move controllers either, so it's not going to come with those things at just a base price of $300. A few other things noted that there would be a PS4 starter kit basically for the headset. So the headset's $300, and then there'd be a starter kit with the camera and then PlayStation Move controllers. Which, not necessarily if the rumor is or is not true. I guess it's more interesting to sort of talk about exactly when this thing comes out, how will it be released? Because that's the thing. We're always talking about the price point, but at the same time, we're never talking about, will it be just the headset? Will it also have the camera? Will it come with PS Move controllers? And something like that is actually very important, because what this thing releases just straight up in the box is going to be a baseline for the support for games, basically, right? Because we all know PlayStation VR does need the camera, but it can also support PlayStation Move controllers. So if you were to ship this thing with a, with the headset, the camera, which it of course needs, and some PS Move controllers, and that means you can develop a PSVR game with Move support, and you will know that every single user can buy that game because every single person that has PSVR will also have a PS Move controller. So when you're not including a certain device into the peripheral, you're fragmenting the amount of people that could possibly buy your game even more, depending on if you're going to support a certain peripheral or not. You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of making me wonder what exactly is going to come into this thing when it actually comes out. I'm of the mind where I highly doubt they're going to include a PlayStation Move controller with the headset, but it would be even more a little bit polarizing if they release it without if they release PSVR without a bundle that includes the camera. At the very least, I mean, I think every unit should come with the camera because it's pretty important, right? You definitely need that, and if you don't include that and put a little, sign on the box or whatever that says PlayStation 4 camera required or something, that's going to not only piss people off, but it's going to fragment the amount of people that can actually play games on that thing. You're going to get the head-mounted display. That means you can't use the VR tracking. I don't even know if you can develop a game without that, basically. It raises a whole number of questions in terms of we still don't know anything about it, right? It's, time's moving rather quickly, and Sony's still not giving us a lot of the important details about the headset. And apparently, from what we've been hearing from journalists and everything, people have played the final retail hardware. Like the actual set hardware is done. So I'm going to assume they can start manufacturing it. Or really finalizing the look of the box or something. I mean, I don't know. None of us know, and they need to start giving us some answers because certainly a lot of people are excited about this thing, but there's also a lot of people that are skeptical about it, and Sony needs to start letting people know so they can get this thing rolling, basically. The other little rumor that was posted on Reddit is that Sony initially wanted to make this thing for PlayStation 5 or their next, the next PlayStation, basically, so they had more horsepower to work with it more or less, but the rumors kind of going into details about how they want this to be a platform moving forward. So certainly PSVR would be in the next set of PlayStation hardware, and it's a platform that they really want to move forward with for the long-term future, which absolutely makes sense because that's kind of what VR is. It's something that's going to get better and better as time goes on, and it's going to be very important for the industry as a whole that Sony gets in on it. Oculus does well with what they're trying to do, and all these other hardware manufacturers that are trying to either cash in or really try to make a change in the industry. And for our last news story, but certainly not least, Uncharted 4 is getting an awesome PlayStation 4 bundle. So an actual custom bundle, basically. This console is actually very custom in the fact that it has a nice little Nathan Drake silhouette on the front. Kind of has a grayish blue look to it with the controller too. It's going to be available same day as the game comes out, April 26th. Comes 500 gigs in the US, I believe, and then actually for the UK and Europe, you're going to be able to get this thing in 1 terabyte configuration. And this thing looks cool. I'm myself am having a bit of a battle. I don't know if I should get this thing or not. I really want to buy it, but at the same time, it's I do not need a third PlayStation 4, which I know I already have 2 of them. I don't even need 2 of them. I'm just some weird guy that keeps buying shit just for the hell of it, but good lord, I want this console. It looks so cool. Those are some of the news stories I want to talk about with you guys this week. The Round on Gaming topic for this past week was the PS4's future. How's it going to do moving forward? Versus PS2 sales, the game libraries between PS4, PS3, PS2, how they stack up with each other. Will Xbox One ever catch up? Big, long conversation there. It's a really good one. Go check it out. Of course, the Sly Cooper Let's Play is also doing very well. We're having some great conversations in there, and I implore you all to come join me in those conversations because they're great conversations. Hey, sometimes I'm good at talking about stuff. Sometimes, not all the time. Okay, but really, we have actually a giveaway this week. So the kind people at Zoink Games have have provided me with 3 North American codes for their game Zombie Vikings. This is a really cool looking game. It's a side scroller. You play as a Norse Viking. 1 to 4 players, full on co-op. It's online and offline. This game looks like a lot of fun. So if you'd like to win a code for Zoink for Zombie Vikings, I can't even talk tonight. Just be a part of the conversation, just comment below or something like that, and I will randomly pick 3 people next week. If you don't live in America or something, I'll just re-raffle and I'll contact the winners, and it'll be all well and good. So yeah, thank you Zoink Games for providing the codes, and for the Europe people, I will try and get some codes for you guys. Just depends on what the developers give me and everything, so there's really nothing I can do about that, but I'll try and get a hold of something for you guys finally. That's pretty much it. So thank you all for watching, or that concludes this week's episode of Let's Talk PlayStation. I'm Ryan Beck. Thank you all so much for talking with me, and I'll see you guys next Friday.